Hello everyone, it's Robin with Robin's Creations, and it has been a long time since I shared a video on my YouTube channel, and I appreciate your patience in working with me. If you are a subscriber and staying a subscriber, I have been helping out family member, my mom, as she had knee replacement surgery. So that was in October, and then the holidays came, and then she had her second knee replacement. So I'm just now getting to sharing my alternate ideas for the October 2021 paper pumpkin kit called Peaceful Christmas Paper Pumpkin. Well, obviously paper pumpkin kit. Here are the stamps that we received. And so I wanted to share with you my ideas for expanding this kit more than 10 cards. I send out more than 10 cards. You could easily double these with no just extra card bases and get 10 from here and here and 15. But if you're like me, I send out over 50 cards. So I wanted to share with you how I expanded this kit to 40 cards. And I still had a few supplies left over, but I thought 40 was enough. And I was lucky enough to get in on the refill, so I have enough for my cards for next year. I tend to work my paper pumpkin Christmas cards a year behind because I make so many, but let me get started with sharing the alternates. So the first thing I worked with was this peaceful cabin tree, not the peaceful cabin tree, the tree design in the paper pumpkin kit. So I took inspiration from Rachel Tesman's website, Stamp Your Art Out, and she added everything. She always adds card bases, and she took a black piece of paper and then put the third of each card base, cut it into thirds, and made different designs. Now she used 3 different designs, but I just took one because I knew I was going to be mass producing and sharing it with my class. So I wanted to make it as simple as possible. The other thing I did, I decided I liked the white background better. Well, let me get it out here for you. A white background better. So I swapped out the black for just a matte of black and a white background. Now on this particular one, I used the snow stamp and stamped at the top of the trees, 2nd generation ink, which means you stamp off full strength, and then without re-inking you stamp again the snowflakes. So if you like that, that's an idea. I decided that took too long for my mass production of 30 of these with my 2 kits. So I kept this background white. That was the back. So this just shows you what that is. The Evergreen Forest 3D embossing folder, available at Stampin' Up. So I put that as a background layer underneath those cards, and then added my matted front. First I tied the ribbon around that, and then I added my flag. Now these flags I created out of additional real red cardstock that I had in my stash. The kit says the coordinating colors are real red, but these flags that came in the kit looked more like cherry cobbler. I did use them on my other cards, but I wanted to add a little splash of color to these as well, so I used my own cardstock. No, that's a snowflake. And made my own flags. And here's a tip for you in saving cardstock. Let me see if I can grab my extra ones. Sorry about that, I didn't have this out. Last minute share idea. So for additional tags like the ones in the kit, they match with this Label Me Fancy punch. So this is one from the kit, and this is one from just the punch. You don't get the silver foil on your label, but at least it matches. And so I have several of those left to do. And rather than adding a whole glitter piece, rather than adding a whole piece of real red, I just do a little piece on each end and glue it to the back, and no one knows you don't have a whole strip behind there. If you're wanting to save cardstock, that is an idea. Okay, so that's the Label Me Fancy punch that coordinates with the labels that were included in your kit. Alright, another alternate you could do if you didn't have the Evergreen Forest 3D, but had the Wintry 3D embossing folders, is here I did the snowflakes. So I hope you can see that. There are 2 embossing folders, and I'll get to show the other one in a moment. So that's how you can make 15 cards out of those 5 cards. So let me set these over here. Put the one that I mainly did on top. Okay, the next thing we did was use the envelopes. And you get 10 envelopes with this silver foil design. And so here is your envelope, and I've already just taken a smidgen off the side. And so then you can open it up, and you have all this plaid to work with as well. So I first cut this off just a little above the fold so you don't get a lot of fraying. And then I cut the trees to 1 3/4. So about 1 3/4, cut a strip there. And then I took the solid green card bases that came in our kit. I don't have one to display, sorry about that. And I cut a 1-inch strip from that, and then I stamped it over and over, just rotating my snowflake stamp to give a little more interest to this card. And then I took a 1 3/8 inch strip from the remainder of this envelope on the back and put it down here. Again, I created my own red for a little splash of color for these cards, and those are those. I did just glue these pieces directly onto a card base, and so you get 10 of these cards. Here's my 9, and I have 1 more to make. Okay, so we're up to 15 plus 10, we're at 25 so far. So let me share my next set of 10. My next set of 10, we use this card front piece and the Shaded Spruce card bases. So you get 5 of these, and so I cut each one to about, a little less, about 1 5/8 inches. And so glued that there, and then I also took a strip from the Shaded Spruce, thank you. The name had left me, card bases that we received. And for these, to give it more interest, I embossed it with the other Wintry 3D embossing folder. It has more of the pine, well, not more, it is the pine needle background. I hope you can see that. And that's how we made those. Now, I did put these on a mat that was embossed, but I decided it really didn't add anything. So on my other cards that I haven't made yet, I'm going to eliminate this. And if I feel it needs a layer, I'll just do a layer of either Shaded Spruce or white and not emboss it because it has the pine embossing for enough interest. Okay, so you can make 10 easily of these cards with a few pieces left over. Alright, so 15, 25, 35, and for the last 5 to make 40, I didn't want to waste these pretty foil Noel pieces or the Vellum Trees. So the Vellum Tree, here's the negative of it with the remainder in it. You get 5 of these pretty Vellum Trees. Okay, so we cut out, this is my remainder, I'm having a hard time getting it loose. Well, it doesn't matter, but we use these 2 trees right here, and I colored them using a blending brush with Shaded Spruce ink. Now here's a tip, I did just buy enough of these so that I had a color, all the basic colors. Like I have 1 for green, and I labeled it green, even though you can see it's green. 1 for blue, pinks, purples, etc., yellows, and that helps me not have to wash them. I just rub off the excess ink so there's none coming off when I put them away. Now you're probably wondering what this came from. So I wanted more color since it was such a white card. So I had purchased this Peaceful Cabin bundle. So let me give you a tip. I store my dies separate from my stamp sets. I store my dies in alphabetical and my stamp sets in alphabetical, but often the dies are not the same name as the stamp set. So because I can forget sometimes, I put a label on here saying what the name of the dies were, and then I also label my dies on this side because that's so small there. And then I also put the stamp set name below it so that if I'm working with the dies and I'm like, what is the name of that stamp set, I have it right there. This one's a little obvious. Some of the others are less obvious. Here's another tip. So I do use their sticky cardstock that they put their dies on, but that tape is extremely strong. So I just cut some magnets, some strong magnets that I bought off Amazon, attach it to the sticky stuff. And some are self-adhesive, but I just keep it, I get the non-adhesive kind. I just prefer that. And then I write here the number of dies, because on the front it does tell you how many dies are there, but it's so small. So just for ease of putting, when I put them away, I know right there's 13 dies. I can count them up and put them away. But my whole point of sharing this was to say this is where I got the little solid green tree. So there are actually three tree sizes. Say that fast. So I cut this out of some solid shaded spruce cardstock. You probably even have enough to use your card-based scraps with that. And so that's how I got the additional tree. If you don't have these, you could easily just do 3 trees that come in your kit. But thought I would share that idea. And put these away so they don't get lost. Little dies like that tend to disappear sometimes. I will work with that later. I'll set this aside. Okay, so that is 5 cards because you only have 5 Noel. Now for the other part of the background, I did a layer that was embossed with the Timber 3D embossing folders. Yes, I love embossing folders. It's such an inexpensive way, if you already have a big shot, to add interest and texture to your cards. So even though it's solid white, it has this texture which makes it looks a little more detailed. And then I added some ribbon from my stash. I believe I got this off the clearance rack. So that made a great value in making all of these cards. So if you have this kit still around, I hope this gives you some ideas to expand your kit, especially if you need more. So again, we have 15, 25, 35, 40 cards with some scraps left over. I didn't use the circle. I'm sure you could make something out of the circle, but I figured 40 was pretty good for one paper pumpkin kit plus card bases. So thank you for your patience in waiting so long for this video. And if you are a subscriber of mine, thank you so much. And if you haven't rang the bell for notifications, I don't post a ton of videos, so you won't be getting a notification daily. You can ring the bell. And if you are new to my channel, I'd really appreciate if you would subscribe. Hit the subscribe button and like and share this video with others. So I hope everyone is doing well. Happy New Year, and I hope my next video is not too far coming. I did just have a class yesterday that I was preparing for using the hand pins bundle. So I hope to share those cards in my next video, if not some of the new goodies that I've received and haven't had time to play with yet out of the 2022 mini catalog. So thank you so much. If you have any questions, please put them below. I will also have pictures that I will eventually link in my blog. Have a great day and Happy New Year. Bye-bye.